Shields up, Ironbreakers. Commander Rurikhan reporting for duty with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Elite Dangerous for the PlayStation 4. This title was sent to me by Frontier so that I could give it a look and tell you guys my opinions on it. And I know that a lot of you guys are probably surprised, like, why now? And the reason is very simple. The game got released for PlayStation 4. Back when the game was released on the PC, I was a little bit put off with how complex the controls seemed, with people talking about the multiple key bindings and the complex setups that people were doing, and track IR and third-party applications for commanding your ship with your voice. I was just like, that's way too much. So I decided not to take the plunge back then, and I waited for the game to come to console. But first it came to the Xbox One, and I was like, I don't really want to play it on Xbox One. And finally they put it on PlayStation 4, and I figured, well, at this point in time, they most likely optimized the ship controls to be playable with a regular gamepad, and therefore I think this is the time for me to check this game out. So I requested a code, they sent me a code, and I started playing it. And at first I was incredibly put off because it is very hard for you to comprehend all the different things that you need to do to operate your spaceship. And it is also very hard for you to first learn how to dogfight in Elite Dangerous because first and foremost, this game is a simulator. It is not arcadey in the least. So you're going to have to master a lot of things like your thrusters, your throttle, the way that your ship moves, because you can like have your ship, if you turn flight assist off, you can have your ship like drift to the side, and you'll be able to do all kinds of weird, crazy maneuvers that I personally am still not able to do because I haven't mastered the game that much. And as a matter of fact, I'm not sure that I ever will. But to be completely honest, I was surprised with the fact that I didn't really feel the need to completely master all of these systems. Usually when you get into a game, and when I personally get into a game, if there's a tutorial, I will do the tutorial so that I can figure out how to play the game, and after that I'm like, okay, now I know how to do things. In Elite Dangerous, I can't say that I ever really feel like I know everything because there's just way too much to know. So like, to give you guys an idea, I started with the first basic tutorials on how to move the ship, and it never really felt right, and then I changed the controls up a bit so that it felt a little bit better. And after that I was like, hey, let's do the combat tutorial, and I failed the basic combat tutorial like 5 or 6 times because it is really complex. And it is kind of hard, like when I would lose the enemy ship, like when it would exit my line of sight, I would try to track it through radar, but the way the radar is, I don't know, I just struggled with it. And eventually I did complete the basic combat tutorial, but I'll be completely honest, I never finished the advanced combat tutorial. And to be honest, like I said, I don't feel like I needed to, because even though dogfighting is something that is enjoyable in Elite Dangerous, it is also only one of the many aspects of things you can do in the game. But that's the thing. You guys might be wondering, so is this a game for me? Is it not a game for me? And it's like, if you're looking for a story or any kind of narrative, no, this game is most definitely not for you. This is the kind of game where you make your own story. You create your own fun. So like, maybe your objective is to get a bigger and better ship, which is going to be a lot of people's objectives, to get a better ship. Or maybe your objective is simply to be a smuggler. Maybe your objective is to be a deep space explorer and actually go out and start mapping all of these star systems. The game has systems in place to allow you to do any of these things that you want. I mean, you can even be a tour guide for space turrets. I'm not kidding. I'm really not kidding. There are ships that are specialized for taking people out on tourist runs. Like, I was blown away when I first heard about that and all the different things that you can actually do in game. I was just like blown away. There's just so much diversity. But again, the thing about it is the game is not going to hold your hand at all. It is never going to tell you, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do that. Never. The second you start a new game, when you're in Elite Dangerous, the game just gives you a ship, it puts you in a space station, and it tells you, here you go, here's a ship, here's this space station. You can grab missions if you want to, or you can just exit out into the vastness of space and go about your business. And you're free to do just that. And that, in my opinion, is both incredibly interesting and at the same time incredibly hard to understand all of the things that are happening. But depending on how you approach the game, you will be creating your own stories. Like, I have my own stories that I will be telling you guys, some of them in this video, about how when I first went into the game, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a mission. And I saw this mission on the mission board, because when you're in the space station, you can grab a mission. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this mission, and now I'm gonna fly out into space. I had already done the tutorial, so I knew how to do hyperspace jumps and that kind of stuff, which is its own thing. You'll have to figure out how to do that if you've never played Elite Dangerous. It's not too hard though. So I started my course jumping into all these different systems, and then I realized, wait a minute, it's like I'm running out of fuel. And so I actually got into the systems that I was going through. I was like, oh, these are actually pretty friendly systems. There's a station here, I can refuel. So it was all going fine and dandy. So I was like, oh man, I can do these runs and I can make a lot of money. So I'll guess my first objective is to upgrade my ship. So I started going out on these runs, and I was like, I'm not going to upgrade anything in my ship so that I will just like buy a better ship. And let me tell you, that's the first mistake that you will make, because you will want to buy at the very least a frame shift drive to make sure that your ship can reach longer distances in space, because the default Sidewinder they give you, the frame shift drive is just really, really bad. And so you can't jump too far away. And so why am I telling you this? Because I ran into this situation where essentially I ran out of fuel in the middle of a bunch of jumps that I was doing. And I was like, oh my God, I'm out of fuel. What happens now? Now I guess I'm going to die. This is bad. So I was tweeting about it. And I was telling people like, oh my God, I ran out of fuel. I'm stuck in space. And someone, I'm sorry, I didn't note down your name, but someone told me on Twitter, like, you should contact the fuel rats. And I was like, what? What are the fuel rats? He tagged this other Twitter account on, and I was like, what is this? So I go on to this other Twitter account. There's like a link in there to a website. And I go to this website. It's fuelrats.com. And so I'm like thinking, this is crazy. There's no way that this is a thing. Not to mention that this game's been out on PlayStation 4 at the time that this was taking place. This game's been out on PlayStation 4 for like 2 days. There's no way they're going to have someone who is around that's going to give me fuel. So I go in there, I log into their website, and let me tell you, it was the most professional experience that I've ever seen. Like, I'm talking like way more professional than like actual hotlines that are paid to provide support for you. Because these guys, as far as I'm aware, aren't even getting paid. They're just doing this because they find it fun or something. But either way, I get connected onto a channel, and there's a dispatcher there. The second I get into the channel, he's talking with me. He's telling me, so you still have your vital systems on? You're not on life support yet? And I'm like, no, I'm good. Because like you can get on life support and you'll have like 5 minutes of oxygen left, and that's dangerous. But they're like, okay, so hold on, I'll get you some rats. So a couple of minutes later, he actually gets another player that's also playing the game on PlayStation 4 to come over to my exact position of where I am in the universe, mind you, and they refuel my ship, and I was blown away. Like, in terms of something for a community for a video game, that to me was just like one of the experiences that instantly marked me. As in, these guys are really dedicated to this game. They have this service that is basically dedicated to pilots that get stranded out in space with no fuel. And when they were done refueling my ship, they actually gave me tips about how I can refuel myself. Anyone that has played Elite Dangerous and is familiar with the expression KGB foam will know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what KGB foam means, then you haven't played Elite Dangerous yet. But I was blown away. And you know, these are the kinds of stories that you will encounter as you play the game. Of course, they're not all going to be as pathetic as my little story of me getting stranded out in space and my Sidewinder while I'm trying to do like 20 jumps to go across space to go to this other space station to deliver some goods to get some currency, you know. But that's the kind of stuff that happens. Now, obviously, this game also supports multiplayer, as you guys are aware. I mean, I did just say that someone went out into space and saved me, but there are multiple ways of doing it. You can have a private session with friends, or you can play solo if you want to, so there will be no other players in your world, which is how I spent most of my time, because like I said, I don't do very well in dogfighting, so I want to do my thing without necessarily being interrupted by other players. But there's also open play, where you can go and you can just encounter other players throughout the world, and I believe you can have up to 99 players in the same, I would say, star system. I think that's the way it would go. And those players can be doing anything from space mining to hauling cargo to smuggling. You can even smuggle people, I think. Like, there are so many activities and so many things that you can do in the game. Now, the game, the enjoyment that you're going to get out of it, like I said at the start, is going to depend on your ability to create your own fun. So what I've been doing is my objective is to get a ship. And I want to get a ship that I can put, like, another ship inside it, because that's a thing that you can do. You can have certain ships which you can put fighters inside that ship, and then whenever there's a combat situation, you can actually launch that fighter, and you can even have an AI pilot that fighter into combat. And I thought that is something that I want to do, personally, because, like I said, I'm not very good at dogfighting, so what better thing than to get myself another pilot to do the dogfighting for me, and I'll just like provide support from a bigger ship. So I'm trying to get a bigger ship. That is my current objective, and for that purpose I already bought another ship, because let me tell you, the Sidewinder they give you at the start, it's a terrible ship. It's not a very good ship. Like, sure, you can upgrade it to do whatever you want, but like, my experience with the Sidewinder was not the best. I got stranded. I got shot down in mere seconds once that I was just checking out an unidentified signal. I just got completely obliterated with the Sidewinder more than once, and I don't trust that ship anymore. Now, the ship that I'm on right now is the Adder, which is like, it's a little bit of an upgrade. It's not amazing, and it doesn't look very good, but it gets the job done. And another thing that I really like about this game is the level of customization that you have on the ships that you purchase. So, like, my ship has a lot of cargo bays, because, well, they're called cargo racks, because I do a lot of hauling stuff from one end to the other. Like I said, I like the concept of space trucking. So my ship has a lot of cargo bays, but you could have a ship that would have passenger cabins so that you can take people throughout the world to different destinations, and there's a lot of money to be made there as well. Or instead, you can just have a bunch of shield generators and just have your ship be super beefed up and ready for combat. And you can have a ton of guns on your ship if that's the way that you want to play the game. And that's the thing. Like, there is combat, but combat is not the main thing. At least not for me. It depends on your personal objectives of what you want to achieve in the world. And again, that is the crux of what Elite Dangerous is. It's all about what you want to do. The game just gives you all of these systems that you can do things. There's even planetary landings, like you can go to facilities that are on planets and you can land there, and they will provide certain services for you. There's also you can also have like a vehicle inside your ship that you can take onto a planet, and you can sabotage certain facilities. There's missions for doing things like this. It's just there's so much that I could not describe all the things you could do in the game if I was sitting here speaking for a full year. These people have mapped out the entirety of the Milky Way, and it is all there. You can visit everything. Of course, it's not going to be like it is in reality. There's going to be a bunch of space stations and all this stuff. There's also the aliens. I haven't even gotten to interact with any of that. But there's also aliens in the game as well. So there is tons and tons of stuff to do. Now, I have a friend of mine who plays this game. He's played over 300 hours of it. That's Sidestrafe. You guys have probably seen Sidestrafe around. His channel is on my Awesome's channel list. And Sidestrafe told me that his biggest problem with Elite Dangerous is the content. Like, he loves the simulation aspects, like how you fly ships and stuff, because like I said, it's very simulator-like. It's very heavy on controls and the things that you need to master in order to just move your ship out through space. He loves that, but he wishes the content around it was different. Me, I'm not sure if I feel that way. I still don't know, because again, I'm still only a couple of hours into it. But what I can tell you is that I was surprised at how much enjoyment I found in just going from space station to space station, taking materials, making money, and then upgrading and customizing my ship. That was a lot of fun. So if you're the kind of person that likes space simulators, this is probably the best one I've played. Like, I know that a lot of people might be thinking, what about No Man's Sky, all this other thing, and a lot of people think ill of No Man's Sky. I'm not on that bandwagon of, oh, let's hate No Man's Sky. I had fun with No Man's Sky, but I think that Elite Dangerous is just superior in pretty much every aspect. Even though it is, like I said, more simulation based. So it is harder for you to fly the ship and do all of these things and learn all the different systems around it. But when you do it, it is very satisfying. Like just, to me, it still feels satisfying just to get into a space station and dock. And the fact that when you get to a space station, you have to like approach the 7.5 kilometers, and then you have to go and you hail them and you ask, can I dock? And they're like, okay, dock and platform something. And then you go in there and you have to find a platform. You have to rotate your ship. And all of this stuff is manual. I believe that there might be upgrades for certain ships that allow you to do this automatically. But like, you do all of this stuff manually, and you almost feel like you're actually flying a spaceship. Like the simulator aspect of it, you feel like this is the real deal. So it is incredibly immersive that way. And that is really satisfying. I feel like I've been speaking for 15 minutes and I still haven't been able to explain what it is that you might enjoy in Elite Dangerous. And I guess that's the challenge of it, because this is a game that is not for everyone. Not everyone is going to enjoy this. It's not like playing, you know, something like, imagine Battlefront when you're playing with the spaceships. This is not that. Not by a long shot. You're not going to be running around through space killing stuff. I mean, you might if you want to, and if you deck yourself out properly, but it's not. You're not just going to dive in and start killing people. You're going to dive in and you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn every inch of your ship, every component that you put on there, and what it does and how it works. Like, I've even just recently started using the guns on my new ship, and I found they're terrible. They suck. They're really bad. But then again, my ship is not necessarily a fighter ship, so that's kind of okay. But it's still I was like, I spent a lot of money on these guns, and I was like, man, these guns probably pack a punch. They don't. They really don't. They're pretty bad, actually. But it's like, again, my ship is built for other things. The ship that I selected is specialized in hauling cargo from point A to point B, which is what I had in mind when I purchased the ship. And the next ship that I'm going to have is going to be a bit of a halfway step. Like, it's got fighter potential, but it is also focused on cargo, and it is going to have that additional fighter that I'm going to put in there. But basically, that's the thing, right? It's like the objectives that you make for yourself and the goals that you set for yourself in the game. That is what Elite Dangerous is all about, and that is something that I like about it. Just going off into space, exploring, figuring stuff out. Like, to give you guys an example, something that you can do if you want to. Like, say, for instance, you're a loner, right? You don't want to get involved in these conflicts. You don't want to do anything. You just want to kind of, like, explore space, see the different planets, see the constellations. Just explore. You just want to be an explorer. There are systems in-game that support that. Like, you can have a good scanner on your ship, and then you can go from one point of space to the other, and you scan every constellation along the way, every planet, everything you come across, and then you can sell that information. And the further away you are from the point where you acquired the information, the more valuable it's going to be, because people are trying to chart these different planets and these stars and all of this stuff. And so they will buy that information off you. And that's not a mission that you get anywhere. It's just like you're going off into space, you're scanning stuff, and then when you get to wherever you thought you were going to get to, you get there and you can sell that information. You know, it's just available for you to sell. Another interesting thing is, like, say, for instance, you're scared of running out of fuel, where there are specific types of stars that put out hydrogen or whatever it is, and you can use this module, which is a fuel scoop, to collect fuel from certain stars. But not all stars give out the same fuel, you know, so it's like you can only collect fuel from certain stars. So then you have to plot your course. And plotting your course, Jesus Christ, that's like another really complex thing. But like, I've had fun with it. I guess that's kind of like the point of the question. I've had fun with it so far. And if you enjoy the crazy stuff, the crazy ramblings that I've been going on in this video, then you might enjoy it as well. The gameplay that you might have seen throughout the video, because I haven't recorded it yet, I'm not exactly sure what it's going to represent. It's probably going to be me going from system to system, like just hauling cargo and stuff, because that's something that I find entertaining. But if it was you playing, it could be taking down other ships. It could be you being a pirate and just like stealing stuff or whatever. That's the thing. There's just no obligations. There's no overarching quest. There's nothing to guide you. It's just, here's this sandbox, and now do with it as you will. Like, you have the fuel rats their fun is in helping out other players, you know, which is cool. I think that is really cool. You might have other players that are like a pirate organization that will get together and try to raid convoys and do all that stuff. You can also get together with friends in a private match and raid convoys, and you don't have to be an open play. You can just be in a private match, you and 4 friends, and you can be pirates throughout the system. And again, I'm assuming that can also be really fun. It's just all about you making your own fun. And that's Elite Dangerous. I like it. Whether or not you like it will depend if you like the stuff that I've described to you in this video. Thank you all very much for watching. Thank you to the Fuel Rats for saving my ass. And if you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe so that you're always notified in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button because it helps out a lot. And I will see you in the next one. Comments, feedback, all that kinds of good stuff in the comment section below. Peace out.